We were meant to be.
All right. It's about that time. Welcome to Xuanzang's Tower, a program of the Diamond Cutter Classics translation team, affectionately known as the Mixed Nuts. Happy to be back together with you all on this fine Monday evening / Tuesday morning and whatever else it might be in your part of the world. And we've got class coming up, I believe with, who is it?
Adam.
Oh, it is with Dr. Andrade.
Oh, Adam, why you look so serious? Okay.
Is that better?
Yes.
Put on a smile. Here, get the homework going. The homework's quite serious.
One quick announcement. After this class, we will have a Q&A, and I will give you more information on that in a moment. Okay, go ahead, sir. Take it away.
Okay.
Can you make your, Adam, can you make your text bigger?
I certainly can. Yeah. It's just tell me when to stop.
Yes.
Is that pretty good? Is that good? Okay.
10? Is that where you want the mic?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so this is good luck with this homework. I'll just say it. So when the auditory consciousness perceives a sound, does it simultaneously perceive that sound, does it simultaneously perceive sound and all its qualities as a single entity?
Qualities.
I can handle the first part of the question, no. And then why or why not, I'm going to leave it to someone else.
Okay. Does the auditory consciousness perceive sound simultaneously with all its qualities?
Because auditory consciousness only perceives auditory like stimuli. It can't perceive other kinds of qualities.
I mean, you would think that, right?
I do until you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, does anybody else, or should we just launch it? I want to try to make sure that we do stay within the 10 minutes. And I went kind of heavy with my answers. So we'll just go ahead and hit it.
It perceives like a lump.
It does perceive it like a lump. Thank you, sir. Oscar, clutch answer. Yeah, it does. You wouldn't think that the auditory consciousness perceives all of sound's qualities. However, it does. And so when the auditory consciousness perceives a sound, it also perceives the changing nature of sound. This is something that I'm trying to grasp. So we'll kind of go into it a little bit further too. And it perceives everything that comes along with it as well. That's the concomitant here. Just means everything that goes along with it. So sound and the changing nature of sound are Zhe, which means that they both come into existence at the same time. So we can use this basic truth to deduce another proof of this relationship. So since the sense consciousnesses are bound to only perceiving changing things, we could say that the auditory consciousness could not perceive a sound, which is bereft of the property of being a changing thing. So the sound and the changing nature of sound must be perceived as a single entity, as it would be impossible for them to appear to the auditory consciousness as being separate. Does that follow? This is why you can say that sound and the changing nature of sound cannot exist independent of one another. Or what you might be able to say, the flip. You could flip that and also say that sound and the changing nature of sound are inherently dependent upon one another.
It got a out of something.
Yeah. So basically, you know, this is something that I'm just now starting to figure out, and something that I may have been, and I don't, yeah, seriously, I'm trying to stay super conscious of staying within the 10-minute kind of, sorry, Ava needs a snack. Give me just 1 second. Yeah,
That's
so
good.
without going into it too much, and hopefully Geshe Michael can comment on it a little bit as well. And the changing nature of sound is a physical property. Right. So if you perceive anything with the senses, it has to be positive in nature. And anything that comes along with sound in that little clump as you perceive it has to also be physical as well.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're gonna come up to a distinction between perceiving and cognizing or
Yeah.
recognizing.
Yeah.
So it could be the case that you perceive it, but you don't
Exactly.
recognize it.
Ngepa. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't ascertain it. He's
Mhm.
saying you see without ascertaining. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just always thought that, yeah, the changing nature of sound, because I had this misalignment in my head where I was, if the changing nature of, I always just thought of the changing nature of sound of being conceptual. But what
Yeah,
I'm starting to grasp is that it's actual physical property of sound.
the ascertaining part, just to keep in mind in this discussion. So the idea is that you can hear a sound and not recognize that it has impermanence, even though you must be hearing impermanent sound. And what they call cognizing, or what do they call it?
Ascertaining, yeah.
Ascertaining. I just wanted you to know that some people say it's subsequent, meaning not at the same time as the perception of sound.
Totally.
And it's particularly tied with figuring it out later.
I tried to hit, sorry again. I tried to hit that in our second question.
Good. Okay, let's go to your.
Yeah. So describe the difference between the changing nature of sound and the fact that sound is changing. And without making you guys suffer, and also just because we want to stay within time for the homework period. So from the perspective of the Sautrantika school, the changing nature of sound is a quality which is inherent to sound. Because any produced sound has the quality of being changing from moment to moment. As such, the changing nature of sound is something which is perceived by the auditory consciousness, and it cannot be ascertained by the mind, which is what we were just saying. So if it was ascertained by the mind, it would be an unchanging thing, as reasoning is strictly conceptual. So that's what we were just talking about, I think. Is that
So
there's
when
a
you say the changing
first.
nature of sound, Adam, you mean that that sound is a changing thing. To be sound is to be a changing thing.
Totally.
So if
This
you're
is what
looking
we've
at
been-
sound, you're looking at a changing thing.
Totally. And I think this is why for the past like 3 months, we've been using Zaychik a lot, establishing what it means to be substantially one thing. And yeah. So the fact that sound is changing is an unchanging thing, since it describes the unchanging nature of reality, the unchanging reality of all sounds. And the fact that sound is changing is something that cannot be perceived with the auditory consciousness, since it must be ascertained through the mind by analytical reasoning.
So that'd be like Ngopo Yimba instead of Ngopo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So the sound and the changing nature of sound are both things that are perceived as a single object by the auditory consciousness, and they are substantially bound and they're linked. So they have a dependent relationship. So sound and the fact that sound is changing can never appear to the auditory consciousness as a single thing.
Okay, cool. By the way, if you want to really confuse people, we can get into the difference between the mind-only attitude on this, the the sutrist attitude on this and the middle way attitude on this, but we haven't got,
Yeah.
we haven't really chewed on that yet. So,
I've been trying to confuse myself by looking into that.
and that's a wonderful way to spend an afternoon.
Um,
That
Yeah,
means Ava has to take a very long nap.
oh yeah, that's not happening anymore. She's not doing afternoon naps so as frequently.
She gets older, so starting to.
Yeah. Yeah, so if sound and the changing nature of sound are perceived by the auditory consciousness as a single entity, and the auditory consciousness can only perceive positive phenomena, then why would acknowledging that sound and its changingness are distinct be a negative quality? There's one simple word that we're looking for here.
Acknowledging, that's the problem.
Yeah, totally. Acknowledging, which is, right, it's conceptual, but it also involves the process of doing what to the
Oh,
entity as a whole.
canceling out everything that's not.
Exactly, dude. Yeah, exactly. Canceling. Yeah.
Shit.
That was the simple word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to make a distinction between sound as a whole and any of its qualities requires a fundamental abstraction. So in any case, the moment we take the sound and distinguish it as a whole from any of its accompanying qualities, we cancel the idea that it exists as a singular object. So the cancellation of the object as a whole is a negation, and all negative phenomena have the nature of being unchanging.
And I couldn't see them.
Yeah, what are the two terms here? There's a term Seljuk and Drugjuk, right? Which is gonna
Yeah,
come up.
So yeah, drug
Oh.
is like that positive engagement, which I
Yeah.
was kind of like a total engagement. Yeah, and then sound juke, it just means to, it's like the cancellation or like so selwa, right? And then sound juke, is that what I heard?
Yeah, SEL, yeah, and what that means is we teach it in DCI that you arrive at something through negating other things. So you
This is the
say,
train
yeah, the famous example. You want to tell
analogy.
the example of the lady with the ticket?
But Geshe, he just said that the auditory consciousness cannot perceive a negative,
No, it cannot.
only a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it cannot reason.
So can it notice an absence of something?
No,
That's only
That's-
conceptual.
no.
That's cognition.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we call cognition or something.
Not
like
perception.
discernment. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go to the student translation. Can you read, Adam? We make you read the first one just for good luck.
Ona sheja chechen kunzo yina shima drupe kapatel. Shima drupe kapatel. Tope patan yina
You gotta-
papa chiro.
Hang on, I gotta get a bigger cursor here. Everyone curse me.
I think it's huge already.
We must be on different cursors. Oh, I see. Adam's using his cursor. Okay, good. Okay.
Oh.
Well then, consider all existing things. Anything which is deceptive cannot be established as. Are you saying that? So when you have anything here, you have to start with. Are you saying?
Are
that-
you? So it is sarcastic. Yeah.
Sarcastic? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Question mark. Yeah, good. Then why do you accuse me of that? Because yeah, there's a difficult expression here that took me a while to think about. It's a semi-nipa.
Mm-hmm.
And I, after sitting with it for a few days, I thought, Bappa, we have to maybe just, what do you call it? For the time being?
Put it on a shelf.
Reshik.
There's another expression.
Provisional.
Provisionally.
Reshik.
Provisional. I think it means it would end up being. You okay? I want to translate the bapa as it would end up being. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
You see, bapa can mean in Tibetan it would happen. Usually it means befall. If those of you who know English well,
Okay.
it would occur, and it's the verb to fall. So it would it would end up that because it would end up being good, being disproven good, okay, by an accurate perception. If it's merely a creation of conceptions. Okay, good. Yeah, okay. Hang on. Let's go back. Something's wrong here. Yeah, it would end up being disproven by an accurate. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. If something is a mental construct, it would end up being disallowed by but it's okay. The way you have it, it would end up being disallowed by an accurate perception. Yeah.
Yeah. So just for clarification, we're distinguishing between Kunzop and Dundam Dempa.
Yeah.
And in this school, Dundam Dempa is anything that's not anything that is a projection.
That maybe, but okay.
Right. I mean, I'm trying to distinguish between the two. So anything that exists ultimately in this, we said it was Tak Chik Rang Wang Chen.
That's generally touching Wang Chen is to be self-existent in this school. Yeah. Yeah.
but that's the gakcha, right?
Yeah.
I'm just
Not-
trying to
not
figure out where,
Dundam Dempa.
If you disagree here, who's gonna read, Adam?
let's see. Who all do you have in the room again?
I have all kinds of victims.
It'd be nice to see some people. Would you choose?
I don't think I can turn. I can try. Let me see.
Oh, you don't wait. Yeah. Okay.
Whoa, hang on. That knocks things over.
No.
I got Jiggy. I got Chloe. I got Ross. I got
Jigme.
Joel, Canada. I got.
Can we go Jigme and then Joel?
That's up to Jigme. Come on. No, it's up to Joel. Can you put them there? Okay. Okay. Come. Hang on. She's coming. But you gotta make her read more than one if she's gonna come up with.
Okay.
Okay. Madrupna ta de yim partok pe tak ba tsam yina ha de yim a mi he de ge pa du do.
Yeah. By the way, what two things are they talking about here, Adam? Is it sound that sounds impermanence or something like that?
Yeah, sound in the it's Dradong Mitakwa.
Okay, so Tade Yimba, when you perceive sound, is the sound separate from its impermanence? Yes or no? Or is the sound the same thing as its impermanence? No.
Well,
you
there's-
can't. You gotta say something.
They're a single.
They
They're
are separate,
yeah.
right? They're separate things, right? Sound and its
I'd say they're Tade. Yeah, I'd say they're Tade, but they're a single entity. They're Zaychik, but they're Tade.
okay. Now, the fact that something is separate from another thing, is that a conceptual object, or is that a real object?
That's a conception.
It's
That's a
all
conception.
conceptual. I think you have to think about it to decide that they are different from each other, that they are not the same thing. You have to close your eyes and think about it. So therefore, the fact that they are separate, tadeyimba, the fact that they are separate is, in this school, is an unchanging thing. Okay, it's because it's conceptual. In this school, if you have to close your eyes and figure something out, that's a principle or a concept, and those are unchanging. Okay, so tadeyimba, the fact that sound and the impermanence that the sound has are separate is something that is a concept. Okay, and concepts are tope takta. They are made up by the. They are conceptual. They are imagination. Okay, tope takta. You know. So therefore, is it if they are just if the fact that they are separate is conceptual, is it correct to say that they are separate? If the fact that they are separate is conceptual, does that endanger the idea that they are separate?
In this.
Only if you don't accept that Kunzo exists.
That's false.
They're separate.
It doesn't make it false, right?
They're separate.
That it's conceptual,
No.
that they
No.
are separate. Okay? You have to close your eyes and say, is sound separate from sound's impermanence? And you say, yeah. And then you say, did you have to close your eyes to think about that? You say, yes, I cannot see it with my eyeball. Okay, well, then is that separateness something you are, it's a concept in your mind, it's conceptual. And you say, yeah, it is. Then he says, he had said, the other guy had said, if their separateness is conceptual, then it can't be real. But I think, Adam, even in this school, it can be conceptual and still be real, right?
I thought that's a major dividing point. I mean, between real things, Rangzhen and Chichen. And
But both Rangzhen and Chichens are real, right?
they exist. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, but
Oh, they're both real in the sense that they exist, but one is more real than.
yeah, and I mean, from what I've understood, that's like a major point of contention.
So somebody said, if something is a construct of your mind, it cannot be real. And we said, Buddha means I deny that. I spit that out, Buddha. But yeah, blow your position is fine because Buddha also means to blow a trumpet. But, all right. Who's gonna let's let JK read this one because she's sitting up here.
Yeah.
Okay, and other people can come sit up here later.
Joe was after me.
Talk loud. Boomzin.
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 Boomzin. Ngunsu Bumpa La Druk Juk Yin Pei Gyutsen Gi Bumpa Tang Ngupo Zechik Yina De Ngupo Yang Dong Ge Shi Mawa Yang.
Okay, so Bunzen Munsun means the direct perception which holds to a coffee cup. Okay. Is it Drukjuk or Seljuk? When is yeah, does the direct perception of a coffee cup operate through elimination or through just seeing the thing?
It has to operate through direct perception, and direct perception has to be positive.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a response from this audience here who's acting as if they already had their pizza. Okay. When you perceive a coffee cup directly, do you do so by eliminating other objects, or do you do it by just seeing the cup? Yeah, just seeing the cup. We call it juk. Rather than by elimination, seljuk. Okay, so sel means like sel clear line. It's a similar word, S-E-L rather than G-S-A-L, to clear away something. Okay, So can we say, you guys, everybody, that when you see a coffee cup with your eyeball directly, it's through a process of perceiving a thing in a positive manner, rather than by eliminating cows and moons and, okay?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yes.
And due to that, Gyutsen Ki, because of that, if it's the case that being a coffee cup and being a ngupo, functioning thing, are to be one is to be the other.
Mhm.
Is it true that to be a coffee cup is to be a functioning thing?
Yeah.
It is.
So therefore, if you perceive a coffee cup, are you perceiving a functioning thing?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. You see it.
But when you perceive a coffee cup, do you always think of it as a functioning thing?
No.
No, you don't. Okay. And that's the whole question of this whole 3 months of work. When you hear a sound, are you hearing impermanence? Are you hearing that something
Yes,
is
you
impermanent?
are. You are.
You're hearing
No.
something impermanent, but you may not be able to distinguish between the sound and its impermanence. That's the idea. Okay. Got it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you perceive a coffee cup, are you perceiving a functional thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you perceiving it as a functional thing?
No.
Maybe
Not
with your eye.
necessarily. No.
No, the eye cannot decide something's functional. Okay, you okay? You guys okay? Awful quiet in here. It's
Yeah.
like a funeral in here. You know. If being a functional thing is part of being a sound and you perceive a sound, do you necessarily perceive that it is a functional thing? We said no. Okay. But is your eye looking at a functional thing?
You have to say
Yes.
so.
Yeah, that's all. Okay. When you look at a coffee cup, do you see a function? Are you looking at a functional thing? Yes.
Yes.
Look at a coffee cup. Do you see a functional?
Yeah.
Do you see it as a functional thing? Let's put it that.
Not
No.
necessarily.
No.
All right. All right. Let's
Maybe,
keep
but
going.
not necessarily. No.
Yeah, this next one, I apologize. I think I butchered it, but it is what it
That's-
is. So-
But it's in history has butchered this one.
Oh,
I'm just okay. It's coming from Dharmakirti.
Hmm.
He's threw Dharmakirti from nowhere, and he threw in something difficult from Dharmakirti from nowhere, and no one ever understood it anyway. Okay, Deichi and Mokotowa, and then other poems. By the way, Adam.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. I like your first sentence. Therefore, when you see a working thing, you are seeing all of its qualities, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you catch the ni?
I'll try.
Because it may be important and it may not. Okay.
Let's see. I guess.
So
Yeah. Be better
it might mean always.
Okay.
It mean always. So to put it into normal, just simple English, when you see a functioning thing, it should always be the case that you all of its qualities. Okay, including its impermanence. English, we distinguish between look at and see, and that may be the difference between munsum and discernment. Are you looking at impermanent thing? Yes. Wait. Do you see that it's impermanent?
Mhm.
No. Okay. All right. Okay. The meaning of this quote from a major text by the of intelligent, ill-considered followers. That's good. Lodu mepa. Okay, good. Lodu mepa. Da chitsang ki jesa dawe bapchulte.
That's right. I didn't really the Chiit Samgi. I mean, I kind of the Dra Chiit Sam. I think, I mean, I know what it means. I just didn't know how to fit it in here.
Yeah, this is bupchul means some kind of confusion or something.
That's why I put
Okay.
ill considered.
That's okay. But what he's saying here is that this is just some kind of bad thinking that chases after the general object. Okay, this is some kind of bad thinking, which is chasing after the general idea of sound.
Yeah.
Cheats. Okay, cheats on.
Yes. Yeah.
You guys are hung up on chasing after the general concept of sound and not thinking about sound itself. Okay. Mm,
I think I was getting confused because I didn't know how to relate these two sentences here. These two
oh,
statements.
that's
back.
pretty easy. The original from Dharmakirti says, if you see a coffee cup, you see all of its qualities.
Yeah.
Always. You
Mhm.
always see all of its qualities. The original lines from Dharmakirti, probably taken out of context, say, if you see a thing, you see all of its qualities. Okay. And the ni at the end of the second line means you always see all of its qualities. Okay.
Yeah.
Or can we say if you look at a thing, you're always looking at it plus all of its qualities, but you may not discern those.
Mhm.
How's that? Okay. You are looking at its impermanence, but you may not be aware of its impermanence. Okay. So then he criticizes people who misunderstood these two lines from who? Dharmakirti.
Dharmakirti.
Yeah, in his commentary on accurate perception, new word for.
No.
All right.
But
Bachute means this is just some kind of wild guess that you guys are taking because you are following. And then he makes a joke, Adam.
Mhm.
He says, you guys are just hung up on the words,
Right.
which in Tibetan, the word for word is sound. Okay. For example, what do they call the study of Sanskrit in Tibetan?
Draw.
They call it sound, shabda. Okay. So he said, you are just hung up on sound, words. You're just getting hung up on the words. But
Where's
it's a
word?
pun because we were talking about sound. Okay. So I would take this Dachitsam means you're hung up on the words. You see what I mean, Adam?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I was trying to catch that because I could kind of
Okay,
infer
good.
that that's what was going
Yeah.
on. I just didn't know how to word it while staying true to the phrasing that Kijibja used.
It might need a footnote. Okay, let's see how you caught the last sentence. Tokcheki sukechik chame yemba yudame. Something which is indivisible, moments of obstructive form. It's either existent or non-existent. Sukechik. Actually, it's a question, okay?
Okay.
Does there exist or does there not exist?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does there exist or does there not exist? Yeah, obstructing form. Okay. Yeah.
The individual moments.
Yeah. Basically, is there such a thing as you know, what do you call it? Solid stuff? Okay, which is Techik Chame Yimba, which is composed of indivisible moments of time.
Mhm.
Okay. Does there exist a shortest moment of the coffee cup's physical existence?
I'm sure it's
In the
school, I guess so.
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, it exists within this school. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't
that's-
forget
that's
our
reality.
school, the Abhidharma and the sutras together are pretty much science. Okay. And it's fun to criticize scientists by saying you are the lower two schools,
Yeah.
especially you're the lowest one school. But can we say we are now wearing which hat in this
Self-taught.
book? Yeah,
Self-taught.
we are wearing the second school's hat, which means we believe there are shortest what? Moments of time. And we do believe there are shortest lengths of things, atoms. We do believe there is a shortest measurement of physicality, both in time and in space. We believe that. There's atoms and there's milliseconds in this school, and they cannot be divided. And by the way, if you want to know what emptiness is, if you want to know what ultimate reality is in one sense in this school, if it can no longer be divided mentally, it's ultimate reality.
Mm-hmm. You know, and again, I wanted to ask, I've had this question about when we talk about Biltrin Chame, are we specific? I mean, is there some way that we could, I mean, what about the elements? Because in the Abhidharma and in this school, we say Jungwar, was it Jungwar Gyur, like things that arise from the elements? So
Jungyur, Kisuk, and Junwa, yeah.
So I was trying to distinguish between like when we say Biltrin Chame, are we talking about the elements?
No,
That's
not
just
this.
Abhidharma?
Even in Abhidharma, I don't think I don't think they're necessarily connected. I don't think the element of fire, for example, defined as hot and burning, is necessarily related to the idea of a smallest atom. I mean, they would say that anything physical is made up of atoms which have a smallest measurement, but they don't claim that the quality of being hot and burning is particular to an atom or something like that. In the sense that in the Western science, the definition of an element is the smallest aggregate of a thing which still exhibits elemental qualities like aluminum or something like that. Okay. The element in the periodic table means if you took a smaller piece, which would be a proton or an electron, it would no longer exhibit the qualities of aluminum as being necessarily a metal, for example. Okay. They don't make that necessary connection in Buddhism.
If we consider the elements though, are they irreducible though? Like
that's what element means. Once you reduce it, it will lose its unique qualities.
So how would that not be?
Oxygen down into hydrogen and was it O2? Then it's no longer on the periodic table of the elements. Yeah. Or it wouldn't be if it could be broken down further. Yeah. And still retain breathability.
Okay, I guess yeah. Somehow I was getting I still see a parallel there. Like the elements aren't reducible.
It's definitely a parallel, but it's not a correspondence.
Okay, yeah. And can I ask you one question that I ran into when I was?
Or you'll take 100 years on your text.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It directly relates to the text. I found it in the Dura when I was looking for the. I was looking for, here it is. Let me share this with you guys.
Okay.
Here it is. So section 3, let me move this over.
Wow, somebody's reading your Dura.
Yeah.
You're reading your Dura.
I'm reading my Dura.
Okay, at least somebody.
I got a little freaked out here again. So we're talking about the reason I went here and I was looking for some clarification and some context is because the Dura says that Mitakpa is a Demenduce.
Mitakpa Demenduce Yimbata. Well, that's not a Kyaba. That must be a Shenlu. That must be the other guy's idea because it's not true. I mean, right?
We finished it up right here, though. I mean, it's definitely.
not everything that's a working thing is a, not everything that's a working thing is a changing thing, which is neither physical nor mental. This is what you just said. Yeah. Not everything that's a working thing is necessarily a changing thing, which is nearly mental nor physical. That's what this says. And that's, it's a Shenlu, I think. It's the other guy. Okay, I think. So you gotta be careful when you pull something out of Dura, you gotta make sure you're
Yeah.
not in somebody else's position.
I mean, I get that. Well, then why, I mean, why would we, I mean, I don't want to take too much time, but I am still a little confused here. I mean, I understand it's a Shinlu and we're kind of responding back to an incorrect idea. But
Oh, by the way, it could be correct. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
how does that sound? Like, I mean, I still see what I see here is, and please, like, that's why I'm asking you guys, is because I like, this kind of blew my mind if this is true.
This sentence is very, very deceptive, okay?
Okay.
This is a very, very weird proof where you are saying a cell phone is a cell phone is space is permanent. A cell phone is space is unchanging. A cell phone is space is unchanging. Okay, he's using space is unchanging as a fact, and he's saying that something is equivalent to that fact. That's, you're in the middle of a very nasty section here. Okay, and it's really, it can be read 2 or 3 different ways.
Yeah, totally.
All except one are wrong. Okay.
So the way that I'm taking it is that
is Adam sound is impermanent?
No.
In this sense, yes, because it just means you're real or you exist, right?
Well, then you could debate it. Okay, is Adam sound is impermanent? That's what this is all about. And it was I almost said bitch to translate.
It was a close one.
Well, yeah, it seemed because we keep talking, like where we were hitting in the homework and where we've been hitting in these next sections that we got into was looking at the changing nature of things, right? And then we got to a point to where we said that changingness or the changing nature of a working thing is a physical property. And so what I was thinking in my head is that the changing nature, it could, I mean, I mean, if it's the changing nature of a working thing has to be a working thing as well.
That's tricky. It's just tricky. I mean, you're into facts, and facts are unchanging. Even the fact that sound is changing is unchanging.
But yeah,
okay. That's where they're at. In the syllogism you pulled out, you're gonna have a headache.
Good.
Okay. Because this is a very weird syllogism. I wouldn't go there from our text. Yeah.
Okay.
This is getting into, is Adam the sky is blue? Is Adam the sky is blue?
I'll think about it again. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, he's not. Where is he? Okay, here we go. We got to get to work. We only got 20 minutes left, 17 minutes left. Here we go. All right. I just don't want you guys blaming me when you're 80 years old and I'm 150.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I didn't finish your text. I predict it will happen. You'll be in my nursing home asking me questions. Where are we?
That part's true.
We're at 464, I believe.
Okay, good. Okay, by the way, he quoted Dharmakirti, and Dharmakirti is I almost said bitch again, but I didn't say that. Dharmakirti is impossible. And I would never translate a piece of a sentence of a text who quotes Dharmakirti without going to read whose commentary.
Dharmakirtis.
Right here. Too.
Geshe
Oh.
Michael
Geshe Wangchu. He's the
Yay.
only in history, one of our teachers, who explained it clearly. Okay, and there's many commentaries, as we read in Ben's text. There's many commentaries, but they don't help you much. And Geshe Wangchu saves your. I almost said ass, but I'm not going to say that. So, it as a matter of policy, when I hit a quotation by
Master.
Master Dharma,
Geshe
Wangchu to find out what the heck it's about, because it's all code. Dharmakirti is all in code. You cannot understand it without a commentary. It's impossible. You can translate the words, but you won't understand it. Okay, so here we go. There's the quotation found in Geshe Wangchu's commentary, inserted there by a young monk named
Geshe Michael.
Goes-
Well, just Michael, I guess.
And we're going to read this because it's helpful. All right. So, Adam, who's going to read the verse?
Joel.
I got Adam's here if you need victors. I got Joel. Oh,
Joel, please.
Okay. By the
Help us,
way,
sir. We need help.
only because of people like Joel that we have the database, and we should give him a hand. He's here from Canada, and he claims he doesn't say a boot. We tested him before we let him in the building, and he said a bow, and then we let him in. Okay, so you're gonna read this. This is the original verse from Dharmakirti. It's the full verse. Our author only used the first 2 lines. Okay, go slow, enjoy. You're controlling the cursor.
Okay.
And put your finger up here. I gotta teach this computer guy everything. Okay, they're following your cursor.
Oh, you want me to? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Keep in mind, I don't read Tibetan.
that's why we're gonna have fun today.
Okay.
Good.
De cheer.
Good.
No.
Wait,
Go.
you
Go
computer
po
guy.
tun wa yi.
Towayi.
Tun wa yi.
Good.
Yun ten
Good.
ta ga.
Tadak.
Tadak.
Good.
Tun wa ni.
Tongwani. Good.
Tong wa ni.
This is true. Okay. the third
True.
line.
Trupa ge par.
Nepal.
Mi. Nepar mi chepa. Chepe.
Good.
Drupa rap to juk yin.
Okay, we tortured the database guy. He's so good. All right, thank you. So
Well done.
Geshe Wangchu pulls out the verse, and again, the first 2 lines are the 2 lines that we're interested in, and it says, therefore, when you see a functioning thing, it is always the case that you see all of its qualities, which seems to say, if you see a coffee cup, you see its impermanence. But what does it mean to see? Does it mean recognize? Can you see, or do we want to say look at? When you look at a coffee cup, are you looking at its impermanence? Yes or no?
Depends on how you use
You
it.
Yes.
kind of, but you're not doing it. You know, you may not understand its impermanence or something. Okay, like okay, okay, and anyway, it's a single sentence by Geshe Wangchu that helps me understand this line. Okay, and here's the single sentence. Who's gonna read it, Adam?
I heard you talking to Tim. Was Tim there?
Who?
Tim?
Tim's here. He still didn't comb his hair.
Oh, never mind then.
Hi, how are you?
I don't care, right? As long as he pronounces things.
Did you try those?
Where are we? Up here. down here?
Shape.
Okay.
Can you do the cursor?
Sure. Shape Justin Luns.
Louder.
Shape Justin Lunsumki. Dry Chu Kun Tong Yang Mane. Pei Jami Mi Takbar Drupain Naktang Takla Sopa Gusso.
Okay, Tim's going to translate it. He offered to translate it. Adam, we're so lucky.
Awesome.
So what's nunsum?
directly
Yeah, a direct perception, which is zimba to,
the sound.
which is holding
Holding
sound.
Mhm.
Okay. It tongues all the chus of dra
And
Mhm.
see all the
qualities
qualities of the sound,
Yang,
but
it doesn't nyepa them.
it doesn't just
Can I say recognize in the
Like that.
easy way?
Recognize is great.
It's looking at all the qualities of sound. And maybe look is better than see, right, you guys?
Yeah.
The perception of sound is looking at all the qualities of sound, but it's not recognizing them. Okay.
Mhm.
Mangepe, there's a therefore. Therefore, people need a
Mhm.
dot.
A label.
Yeah. Or an explanation from somebody, not speech. Okay. Either they
Oh,
need a syllogism from somebody,
Mhm.
or they need an explanation from somebody, because both are the foundation of
About
what do
ascertain,
we
understanding.
perception through indirect perception. Indirect perception can be three kinds: reason, or someone else taught it to you, or there's a third one. When you call a car a lemon,
Convention.
convention. Yeah. You say it's a lemon, but someone has to explain to you what a lemon means. Otherwise, you think you're getting a nice car. Okay. Okay, good. Nakatala sopa. That's the sopa by. So in order to see Dhamitapa,
in order to see sound as an unchanging thing,
you're gonna have to depend on a doc or not.
a reason or well,
Or a
syllogism
description
or
from
description.
someone.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. That's all. He says that's what the verse means. Okay. And he doesn't touch the third and fourth lines, which we didn't need anyway.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
By the way, Adam, the original seems to say the opposite. The original seems to say when you look at a thing, you are looking at all of its qualities always. Okay?
Yeah.
And he says you may be looking at them, but you don't recognize them necessarily.
Right.
And then someone to explain it to you with reason. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody okay? It's awful quiet in here.
Yeah.
You know, if they really fell asleep, there'd be snoring sounds at them. So I think we're okay. All right.
Yeah, so those last two lines, it seems like right
touching on-
under didn't he? It seems like right under the influence of whatever delusion or something, right? We don't give rise or whatever. We don't create certainty or recognition.
Yeah.
But then the that seems okay. But drupa rub to jupa yin, that last line is, I don't understand.
Were you listening to Geshe 5 minutes ago when he said, "Don't
This is-
touch Dharmakirti without commentary"?
Sure. Yes. He's not commenting on this yet when he says that.
No, he doesn't go there. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I'll say something about his commentary. In the earlier chapters,
Yeah.
he doesn't go as deep. He's not as careful. He's not
Okay.
as and then towards the last two chapters, he explains every single syllable.
Okay.
He's more careful later in the book to explain every syllable, which is what we need him for. Okay. All right. We got to thank Joel again that we even have all these resources. So yay, we think we're good. Okay. And those other people like Brady, okay. You want Tim to read some more? I think he's dying to read more.
Well, it's perfect. Yeah. Tim, can you help us? 464.
Menabum sum kechek cham me yimpa yuparbu
Yeah, and don't forget, "bu" means that junks your idea,
Yeah.
that crap idea. Okay, so "bu," we can kind of cut it off. Just remember, he said your idea got trashed.
Mhm.
Okay. What was our idea?
It was,
Go ahead.
I think it was, what was the obstructiveness? Tokcheki su keichik chame. So we were saying that it either exists or it doesn't. So like here we're saying if it doesn't exist,
What's Kechi Chame?
indivisible moments.
Yeah. Are there indivisible moments of a coffee cup?
Yes.
In this school, there are. Yeah. Therefore, your position that there are indivisible moments is trashed.
Yes.
Okay, good. If something doesn't exist, what's something? Yeah. Your position that there are physically touchable solidity, that there are moments of solidity to a coffee cup is trashed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You want Tim to do one more? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that last one was too short, man. You're getting off. These are all kind of short.
Okay, let's go.
You're not.
Why? By the way, why are you borrowing your daughter's crown? I don't know.
She
He's
insisted
desperately
to put it
reaching
on.
for his thinking cap.
You're the king of logic. Okay, here we go.
You're not. 대량 Ela Yupe Tope Rekja Nisechik Gam Tade.
Okay, let's forget the yuna. It says if it's true, then the rekja. What's rekja?
Touchability.
Touchability. You could say tangibility. Okay, it's the object of the fifth one. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin. Okay, yeah. Tokpa means
You did that.
strikeable.
Okay.
Okay. Who's the famous person whose name has that in it?
Kokme.
Asanga. Because his knowledge cuts through things
Untouchably.
like a hot knife through butter. We could have called him Arya Hot Knife Through Butter.
I like it.
I like it too. Oh, so you traded hats, Adam?
No, sir.
Okay,
We're
good. So is the coffee cup and the touchability of the coffee cup, are they zeichik or separate? Is to be one to be the other?
Yes and yes.
Is to be a coffee cup to be the tangibility of the coffee cup? Yes or no?
Yes, in a certain way.
The way this
Although-
has been going.
I don't think they're the same thing. I mean, what of it? Then the
Well-
touchability, visibility, because that's the same thing.
It's weird because if we say the cup, we're kind of talking about it as if it's a singular
Yeah.
entity apart from.
Well, here's the question: is the touchability of the cup and the cup itself is to be the cup to be a touchable cup? Or
I mean,
not?
they come along
Yes.
together, right? They like have.
What if you're a full amputee or something? I don't know. What if my cashier at the cafe got stung by a scorpion last night? She said it was weird because she couldn't touch anything. It all felt like electricity. Everything she touched felt like electricity. So could she feel the touchability of the coffee cup? No, but what's the coffee cup? Yeah. I say they're not such that one to be is the other, to be one is to be the other.
I don't
Okay.
know.
I don't know. We got one more minute. Let's do this one. Tim wants to do one more. He's begging.
Yeah, Tim.
Wangin Yang Latle De Tarepe Yang Lak Chen Misip Boom.
Yeah, and this is a structure that you guys should know.
Yeah.
Okay. The yen lock and the Yanlak Chen for $100, a common English expression.
Parts in the whole.
It's a
What did you say, Kramer?
Parts in the whole.
Yeah, $100 for you. But it goes to the Ezra Scholarship Fund, okay? I'm telling you. If he goes to college and he ends up having monetary problems, it's not my fault. Okay. Now you got to collect from Jigme, I guess, okay? Somehow.
It's okay. He's going to go to Diamond Silk University. It's no problem.
By the way, we pegged the price of that to Harvard. Okay.
In-state tuition.
Yeah.
It is 5. I'm just giving you guys a heads up.
Okay, I'm finishing, Nick. Is there a substantially separate whole? Is there a whole which is substantially separate from the parts? Yes or no?
I would say no.
I'd say no too. And then we say you just junked the idea that it's impossible to have a whole which is separate from its parts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
No. What?
like the only things we understood today. All right,
Excuse
yay.
me.
Adam, 467, 468, and 469
Yes, sir.
for next time.
It's getting
And-
fun, man.
Cheating and having Ava help you, okay?
Okay. She was, yeah.
No, I know what goes on there. 7124. Okay, I think we got Nick. We cut to Nick. I'll turn off my share.
Well, Adam's going to give a 15-minute discussion, or he's going to lead a 15-minute discussion with our group here about the practicality of these ideas. But I do want to, make an announcement.
I'm gonna go sleep on the couch.
Oh, is there a couch?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Before we start, Adam, I do just want to make a quick announcement that after Adam's discussion, as usual, we will have the Peachtree World News. After the Peachtree World News, we're going to have a Mixed Nuts Q&A session with Professor Stanley Chen, and it's going to be in Chinese. So we've been trying to incorporate more foreign languages. He's going to do it in Chinese. Can ask about practical questions about what we're talking about or whatever you want. And it will be translated into English. So just join the English channel if you're listening and you don't speak Chinese.
Nick promised me nobody would ask any philosophical question about Adam's text.
I promise.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can make that promise, but I was hoping. All right.
Yeah, we kind of left off at a pretty cool point where we were saying that there is we left off with a question, which was that whether or not there was a substantial whole independent of the parts that we perceive. And I think a very practical application of this would be to look at maybe somebody that we're having an argument with, like in the kitchen, or some problem. I mean, that's seems to be the pretty standard way that I try to think about it. So is there a person that exists how about this? If we perceive anything, does it have parts?
It does.
Anything that you can perceive with your senses has parts, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. So are there components that would make the form that we see in like the kitchen, right? They're kind of being made up, right? So would the quality of somebody being annoying, could they be a part in the same way that somebody would have the quality of being changing or unchanging?
Maybe not in the same way.
If something
Yeah,
has
I
parts,
think you'd have to say that you're seeing an annoying person, but you don't necessarily recognize how annoying they are.
yeah, and we also, what I'm trying to get around to is that we don't we don't see that it's not coming from its own side. A quality of all things that we perceive is that they have an emptiness, right? So from that same way that we're not perceiving the changing nature of sound, we're also not perceiving the fact that it's not self-existent. And I think the same could be said for any problem that we encounter in our life, especially for people that we see before us. And, I think really it's thinking about these things that kind of start like a friction fire almost in my mind. And the more I think about them, the more that I find that these ideas pop up in my mind throughout the day. Like just doing random things and looking at random things as I'm driving or as I'm playing with Ava. The more I think about them, the more they seem to appear, which we know that karma kind of ripens that way, doesn't it? In an exponential way. So the more I think about them, like, it's like, okay, I'm getting, it's getting easier to catch when my mind is deceiving me and telling me that things are not coming from their own side.
That's nice, Adam. I think you could say that there's a way in which anyone in your life could be annoying or helpful, and you don't necessarily recognize it when you look at them. So what would it take to recognize people as helpful? And then, of course, we're left with being helpful people. We need some other element. We need some other element to come. We need some other thing to ripen for us to recognize this thing that we don't see in people, which is how beautiful they are. Which isn't to say that you couldn't have a ripening to see them as annoying, but you could have a ripening to see them as helpful. And I guess helping people out, helping the people in your life, of course, is a great way to plant the seed to have that further, right? Recognition, right? To recognize that people are helpful, because they are in some ways. I know I'm annoying for all you guys, but my mom thinks I'm very handsome, and so she must have been very helpful to people in the past. And so if you don't like me, you know how to fix it. It's not my problem.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's I think the reason this text in particular is helpful to me it's just because it stays with me throughout the day. And the more I think about it, the more it helps me just kind of take in my environment and my perceptions and analyze them in different ways. And I think in some way it allows me to almost put like a stopgap in between when I plant bad karma and when I'm looking at things or considering, certain actions to take, to come back to my text as it randomly pops in my head. I don't know if that's making sense. But it just seems like the text is seeping into like my life, and that's, it's pretty nice. So in a practical way, I would say it just helps me. Yeah, it helps me kind of, with just to govern and like direct myself throughout my day-to-day existence. I mean, because we're coming back to really how would you use these things to prove, or how would you use these things to deduce like the refuge vows and how they could be like beneficial to your life? Like how can you use them to kind of reduce it back to like, oh, well, the analyzing the nature of a coffee cup can get you to a point to where you understand reality and where it's coming from, such that cause and effect makes more sense. I don't know if I'm
Yeah, it seemed like Geshe Michael said there are two ways, and one is reasoning, but the other is being told. We have to rely on teachers. We have to rely on each other to show us what's around us that we can't see, even though we're seeing it, but we're not recognizing it. There's a whole reality waiting, even though we're looking at it all the time, looking at it, yeah, it's a great translation. We're looking at reality all the time, but we're not recognizing the ways that we can use it, the ways that it can serve us. And so we can reason it out. That's cool. But he also said you could be told, and that's nice. We can go to teachers, we can help each other.
Yeah, I would have never been aware of these concepts had I not been led. You know, and I think really what I'm, you know, I think ultimately I could just distill everything to what I'm trying to say is that if you perceive sound and you perceive its changingness, but you're not recognizing it, there's also a quality of being empty that's present in that object too, from the perspective of the higher middle way, that you're not perceiving. And so the same process, I think, could be used to really just drill it into your mind that there's an aspect of reality, once again, that you're not perceiving, and that it's the source of all your suffering. Like, I mean, it's kind of the whole kit and caboodle right there. Anybody else have something they want to share? Let's see, is there something in the, are you saying not perceiving the same? You saying that not perceiving is the same as emptiness? No, I just think there's a quality, right? Like there's a quality inherent to all phenomenon. And that quality would be not being self-existent. And so I'm not saying that the two are synonymous. What I'm saying is that no matter what you perceive, it's going to be empty. And I think this is kind of like training your mind to get ready in the higher schools to analyze that in meditation, such that you can take these reasonings from the lower school and they warm you up with a coffee cup, which, you know, that's not that abstract. You can touch it in your hand. But as you proceed through the schools, you'll start to maybe meditate on the emptiness of yourself. And that's a little bit less tangible. And so your mind has to kind of be ready for that. And I think this is a good preparatory kind of way. Even if it's been 6 years that we've been in the school, that I've been in the school, I'm still like learning a ton from it. So, yes, ma'am. Yeah. Help you in just 1 second. Okay. Let's see. The difference between perceiving and discerning could be important. Yeah, totally. Yeah, the difference between perceiving and discerning is the central topic to what we've been discussing the past 2 classes. How bad is
Can I
it?
speak in Chinese?
Yeah, totally. So when
Today it was on my foot when I looked down.
yeah, no, I think it's really it's super important to drill in on the difference between perception, direct perception, and ascertainment or recognizing. So recognizing the quality of something versus sensing it are 2 totally different things.
Adam, Pei Ling was asking if she could say something in Chinese. I don't know if Stanley might be willing to help. I see him on the screen.
Yeah, let me turn my the interpretation here in English.
Oh, I bet Stanley could just help us in the English channel if she wants to ask a question. Is that true, Stanley? Would you be willing to do that? Look at that. Thumbs up.
Just that one question, yeah.
Go
ahead, Pei Ling.
OK，
Please.
我想做一个假设，但是如果我说错的话，请老师跟我讲，我是讲错的，我是想确认。我的假设是，当我们还没有用我们的五蕴去开始感知一件事物的时候，就是那个实体还没有形成的时候，但是其实它已经形成了。这个是因为当我们种下种子，种子就一定会打开。也就是说，当我们还没有来得及去感知那个实体还没有形成的时候，但是它已经是成为一个事实了，因为有种子。但从另外一个方面来讲呢，种子它 它又是空性的，因为我们知道这个东西是一体两面，种子和空性是连在一起的。
Okay, we know that seeds that comes with two sides, emptiness and then seed itself. So that, but we know that when we plant the seed, we will get a result, although that we know that it is empty.
So, Pei-Ling is making an assumption and she wants to know if that's correct. So that's a question. Believes that like even before we perceive things, because things are coming from seeds, it's already there. The entity already exists before we perceive it. And also because seeds are empty. So it means this entity can change too. That's basically her assumption, and she wants to know what you think.
Yeah.
就是它还没有变成实体的时候，它已经是在我们的脑里面已经
Before it becomes a solid form, but it has already become solid inside our head. So I'm saying that how do we perceive a coffee cup? It is coming from the projection of our image so that we can see a coffee cup. But because hundreds of years of the recognition or the habit is too, this pattern is too solid. So we think that this is a coffee cup outside there, but actually it is coming from the projection of the image from our head.
Yeah, I think it's a very beautiful and subtle distinction. Yeah, how many seeds ripen in every finger snap, right? It's a question, right? We've got 65 simultaneous kind of seeds that are ripening, maybe not simultaneously. I don't even know how to think about that, but like the coffee cup, right? It appears solid, but it is just a projection of individual moments. And those individual moments are unchanging.
We're going to have to investigate this one further in a subsequent conversation as we have reached the finality of this very impermanent discussion.
Just to point out quickly, that's if you wanted to go to the ACI courses, the ACI courses talk about subtle impermanence in a much deeper way. Pei-Ling. Thank you. That was really fun, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for your text, your awesome work on it, and also being willing to take on the task of trying to have these discussions after doing your mind-bending text. So thank you.
Yeah.
So now we have 15 minutes with Juan Hasso. Are you ready? Peachtree World News.
Yes, here I am. Thank you very much.
There he is. And then stay tuned if you would like for a exhilarating Q&A with Dr. Stanley Chen. Thank you very much.
Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to a quick segment of what's happening all over the world. I was listening from class about this idea where there are basically it's difficult or impossible in a way to define a line where time, the present moment draws. And I was thinking that applies actually very well for today, because where today starts and where today ends. The reason I'm bringing it is because we are celebrating a very special birthday today. And it's not really today here, but it's today there. So we want to celebrate the Asian happy birthday of Connie. She's having already a birthday. Her birthday is in July the 2nd. But she's in Asia. That's what I am saying. She's living in tomorrow. Now, which is very interesting to me. But anyways, we want to congratulate you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you for all your love and help. We hope you stay for infinite time. They are in Asia because they are about to be part of a very cool program. It's the Borobudur event happening in a few more days in July, the 10th of July to the 17th. They are getting ready there. John Brady, Connie, Errol, Jasmine, Jaolin, they're organizing this event, and we're gonna be talking about it more in depth tomorrow in our program that we have, and we want to invite you to watch it. We're gonna have all these amazing panelists talking about projects and events that they are about to have. We're gonna have the new groups of Asian wisdom growing in Europe mostly. We're gonna have Adam also talking about new ideas and his own experiences about his translations. John Brady and Connie, of course, talking about these Borobudur. Chikme also sharing about life experience, Tim and his next upcoming July tour. Chloe is gonna be with us, helping us to lead some interviews. The Mexican producers and Shanti, the baby also, maybe, hopefully we'll see. And Lindsay talking about the very cool, with Rosa, cool projects about the Good Night Book Club and other cool things. So if you have the chance, join us. It's gonna be late for Europe and early for Asia, but we hope if you can, come. And speaking of that, just to remind you, there is gonna be the Mexican event coming up at the end of July. Is the next picture, please? Yes, you still have a chance to sign up for it. And tomorrow, during the program that I just mentioned, we're gonna be talking with some of the main producers of this upcoming event. And just to finish for today, we also have another guest waiting for us, and this time is Earl Bernie talking about a wonderful classes and teachings you just had this weekend. Earl, can you tell us a little bit how did it go?
Yeah, it's a two-part program we're doing. The first part was last weekend, and we continue this weekend, and it was amazing. It is called To the Inner Kingdom, and it's from teachings in 2001. Geshe Michael went on 3-year vacation. 3-year retreat, and he came out twice a year and gave my favorite teaching, some of my favorite teachings that he's ever given. It was the first time I ever was at teaching of his, and it was the first time that I know of that he taught his own poetry, not Jetson Kappa, not Choni Lama. So it was very heartfelt, very beautiful, profound. The poetry wasn't always easy. It's stark and encouraging and beautiful, but it really hit home and emotional. And the idea is that there's an outer kingdom and there's an inner kingdom. And the opening line says, "There are those of us here who shall not taste death before we reach these kingdoms." And in Sanskrit, it's Jivan Mukti. Mukti is freedom. Jivan is this life. So we can reach a place of freedom in this life. And Geshe Michael never retaught these teachings. And I was curious about that. But then when I gave a talk in 3-year retreat, it'd be so hard to replicate. I don't think we can teach what we teach in 3-year retreat once we're out of it. It's the heart is too different, the mind is too different. So he never retaught them, and they're so beautiful. I don't think they're even on the knowledge base. And so I really want to bring these teachings back out into the worldview world, and we're doing that by inviting teachers to come and share their experiences, share their thoughts. And it was really beautiful last weekend. I love talking to to these teachers and some great insights. And the idea is that there's an inner kingdom. To get to the inner kingdom, we have to get to the outer kingdom. And to get to the outer kingdom, we need deep meditation. And so last weekend, we talked about obstacles to deep meditation, things, objects of the senses, electronics, things like that. This weekend, we'll talk about what is the outer kingdom, and then the inner kingdom. And you know, to spoiler alert, the inner kingdom is a place that if we get to, we spontaneously look at every single living being as someone to serve, like our best friend, like our child, like our parent, like our teacher, and we can never ever truly be happy unless we can get to that place. And so Geshe Michael said, look, the instructions are rare. And he taught, and he said, I want to give the real instructions to get to that inner kingdom. And especially on day 4, he really, he teaches some meditations that I think will blow your mind. They're straight from the Diamond Way teachings, and there's something else. So I hope people can join. There's recordings from the first weekend. If you go to the next slide, you will see one of the speakers this weekend, Mr. Rob Haggerty, who was at the teachings, and Ben Kramer will also be there. Peter and Maria, Mr. Ben. So, you know, it'll be amazing.
It sounds wonderful there. It really does sounds wonderful. So thank you very much for sharing this, and also for taking the time to bring these things back to the present moment. Thank you. And of course, thank you, Geshe Michael, for having, in the first place, having the kindness and the wisdom to bring them to us. So thank you very much, and we will hopefully talk to you again soon. I know you're also going to Borobudur now, and tomorrow we will be talking with John Brady and Connie about it, and we probably may see you on screen very, very soon.
Cool.
So
Thanks, also.
Thank you as well. Thank you for coming. And yeah, just to remind you one more time, can we show the QR code of the event tomorrow? Just in case you haven't signed up, you can